can look at someone. You don't have to know their story or their background or any of that bullshit. All you need to know is, all you have to do is look at their behavior and look at it objectively. Like, how are they behaving, and is that in alignment with how they say they want to be? It's easier to do that with someone else than it is yourself, because with yourself you've got your self concept, which, you know, has your ego, has your identity, the person you believe that you are, but you also have your past, you have your future. So when you look at yourself or anything that you believe or do, you look at it through the lens of all of this shit. So you almost have rose-tinted glasses on, and it makes it more difficult to identify things you're doing which are out of alignment. Whereas when you look out instead of within, you don't have the same sort of, like, your ego doesn't get in the way of looking at someone else subjectively. And when you see these traits or these flaws in other people, not flaws, but like things that are out of alignment, when you see them in other people, the only way you're able to see them more clearly is because you've experienced that in some way. Like, for example, yesterday, when we were talking about the books and, you know, buying the books but not reading the books, I'm able to see that because I've downloaded so many samples of so many books that I know I'm not going to read them, but having them on my phone makes me feel like I am. Makes me feel like, oh, I've got the brownie points there.
Yeah.
So it's easier to look out instead of look within.
Yeah.
But the outside world is just a reflection of your, my writing is terrible on here, internal state.
Well, yeah, because you're not even going to notice those things about other people or the world unless, like, it's already on your mind. Like, something that you don't even consider about yourself. Or you don't even think, like, if the same things keep annoying me as I walk down the street about other people, the only reason they even annoy me is because I view those people as if I'm viewing myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, like, if I see loads of people walking down the street and I'm like, oh, they look so unhealthy, or they look terrible, or they look like this or that, it's only because I'm conscious of me looking like that myself. So when I see that in other people, I'm like, ugh, because it's like as if it was me, as if it was them looking at me, and it's flipped around. Like yeah, without a doubt. Like,
there you go, because our outside world is just a reflection of our internal state.
Yeah, if I wasn't bothered about looking unhealthy, if I just didn't even cross my mind, I wouldn't give a fuck about what other people look like. Or it wouldn't. Not that I do, but it wouldn't irritate me in the same way. It wouldn't even be on my mind. I wouldn't even think about it. Yeah, it's funny that.
But that's an advantage, because if, let's say, looking in the mirror, all your ego and your self identity and, you know, your past, your present, your future, if all of that gets in the way of you being able to objectively look at yourself and the ways that you would like to change or improve, you can almost just look at the world and see what comes up. See what you notice. See what when you're with the people, when you're interacting with people, you can, if you get out of your own self, but get out, like, stop sort of just being so self-absorbed in those moments, worrying about, how you're perceived and whether someone likes you or X, Y, and Z. If you just spend your time being aware of how other people are in the situation, aware of what the dynamic is, aware of how you're positioning yourself in the conversation, how other people are aware of sounds that are going on. If you just focus purely on being aware, which is what you learn to do in meditation anyway, right, and stop being so focused on you as a concept.
Yeah, but like, you can see the sort of like how that fights itself. So like you saying being aware, what if I know this is wrong, I know there'll be a report, but I'm like, yeah, but I am aware, I'm really aware of myself, and it's causing me to be overly aware of myself, and then it sort of fucks up those interactions, like.
But there you go, you're saying, oh, I'm aware of myself. But if you're only focusing on being aware of yourself, then you're not, like, if you're only aware of yourself, you're not aware of anything else that is going on, then there's levels to
it. Yeah, but in the sense of that awareness can be, it's like, where are you placing it? I feel like that's the onus, because if I can be really, really aware of all the wrong things, and that can
like what?
Like, let me just give you an example for how this sort of thing, like, I was doing a house party the other weekend, a few weekends ago, and loads of new people that I knew about, but I didn't fully meet, and if my perception of them was that they're a bit standoffish, and if I assume that they are completely neutral characters, like there's no given, I can't assume anything about them, they're just blank slates, and if I perceive something about them, and they are generally just fine people, they do part, very social, great, all that sort of stuff, and I perceive them in a certain way. The only reason I perceive them in that way is because I'm either giving that out, or I see, something in myself in them. Do you know what I mean? So if I perceive people as quite standoffish, it's probably because I'm being quite standoffish, or something like that. Subconsciously, I'm doing that, and because I'm consciously perceiving that in them, it's probably because they're perceiving that. You know what I mean? In that reflective sense. So
somewhat, but we're not talking. You're talking about being aware of something, and then judging, interpreting what that awareness is.
Yeah.
But I'm not asking you to judge anything. I'm just asking you to observe it. It's if I picked up that shoe and asked you to look at that shoe, I'm not asking you whether you like the shoe, or I'm just asking you to look at it.
Yeah.
And through looking at it, you're going to notice more. You're going to notice more aspects of the shoe, or you're going to look at the shoe in more detail and be like, oh, I didn't see that before. Oh, there's a bit of dirt there that I thought these shoes were clean. You just by the practice of looking, you're going to notice more things, and that is the whole point. Is that if you get out of your head and you start looking, if you start seeking for little behaviors and signs and the things that you pay attention to, create your reality. So if you're so self-absorbed in thinking, oh, I wonder how this person thinks of me right now, or like, oh, am I speaking deeply enough, or like, all this bullshit that typically goes through your head in a day of just so absorbed about how you are, what you're doing, whether that is, in alignment with how you want to be, and all this stuff. If you're just so absorbed in that, then that becomes your reality. Whereas if you just pay attention to what is going on around you, you're going to notice things about yourself and things about the world that are going to give you signs as to where you are not free, or where you might be contradicting yourself in terms of what you say and what you think, and then what you actually do. And again, we're not trying to judge any of this. All you want to do is observe the world. And when you do this, because the world is just a reflection of your internal state.
Yeah.
And once you have an idea of, what you're seeing, maybe you're seeing that someone close to you always says one thing, but then never does it. Or, you notice in certain social dynamics, you see that one person is a bit more nervous or a bit more standoffish. And these things that you notice, you can then ask yourself, okay, I'm able to see this thing. So if I'm able to see this in my outside world, then where's this showing up in my life? So if you look in straight away, you have to filter it through your identity, your ego, your past, your future. Whereas if you look outside, you don't have the rose-tinted glasses on. You're just observing things without judgment, without all this idea of, what it means, who you are. You circumnavigate all of that, and you just get to the observation, which, it's not going to be completely objective, but it's going to be more objective than when you're looking at yourself. So you've got the objective observation of a behavior, of an action, without all of the story about what it means. And then you now turn that inside and be like, where do you do this? Or where do I do this?
Yeah.
Right? And again, this is just, you're not judging the fact that you get anxious in social situations, or you don't stick to your word. You're just simply looking at where you do it. You're not asking for an explanation, which we're really good at making to make ourselves feel better. You're just asking for where you do it. Again, just an observation. But now you've turned that observation from outside, and now you've turned it inwards. And then your brain's going to bring up loads of bullshit, like, this is why this has happened, or, but there's this thing from my past, or, X, Y, and Z. Your brain is going to make up loads of reasons as to, because you're not gonna necessarily like what you have to see. So your brain's going to try and rationalize that. But you need to realize that is just some bullshit to try and make yourself feel better. So once you've looked at the outside world, realized it's a reflection of your internal state, you've observed a behavior, and then you've asked yourself, where do I do this? Okay. And you've found, I do it here, I do it here, and I do it here. Now you need to ask yourself, is that what you want? Is this what you want? most likely the answer is going to be no. Or I act awkward around this type of person, or I don't show up for myself properly when I am, a bit under the weather, or whatever the observation that you've made. You're going to ask yourself if you want it, and that's most likely going to be a no. So now, how do we change? How do we start living how we want to live? Now we get on to 3 things which are extremely important. Be, do, have. So most people, they might observe, realize where they do it within themselves, and then they'll try and change the action because they think this world is only physical. So in order to, change myself, I must change my actions. So, they'll do things. Let's say, we'll use health as an example, right? You want to get fitter. Okay, I am going to go to the gym, which is do. And then if I go to the gym, I will have a 6-pack. And if I go to the gym, then I'll have a 6-pack. Then I'll be healthy.
Yeah.
You do, you have, you be. The issue with this is that you are waiting for you to do action and to have a thing before you believe it.
Yeah.
That's the wrong way around.
No, I like it in that sense. Like, you're waiting to have the 6-pack before you arrive at the health. When,
But do you understand where that can go wrong? If you are only healthy once you have the thing, then
it should be do, have. Like, I suppose sort of the standard way of thinking about it is do the gym to have a 6-pack and then you will be healthy. Where
Exactly.
in reality, it's not the exact opposite. Because it would be you be healthy. You choose to be healthy first and foremost, and then through doing that, you will automatically do the gym, and then the last thing will have a 6-pack. But the whole point is being healthy, and that's a choice from the beginning.
Exactly.
But my sort of thing with that is, I can choose to be healthy in my mind and then live like a slob and not do anything. But I'm like, but then you just kind of know you're lying and stuff a little bit. Yeah. I think looking at it, do, have, be. It's kind of like you you're kicking the cans down the road a little bit, whereas opposed to if you just choose to be healthy now, first and foremost, and moving forward, then the rest of it sort of comes into place a little bit.
If you're relying solely on you doing the action,
Yeah.
that means that your identity, right, your idea of who you are, is not aligned with how you want to live life. Because you're waiting to adopt, because this is essentially just your identity, right?
Yeah.
If you wait, I don't know, 3, 6, a year to be the identity, then that means every moment up until you feel like you've made it, you've got the 6-pack.
Yeah.
Just put that back. If you're waiting until you've got the 6-pack before you decide you are healthy, chances are this road to the 6-pack is going to be so much longer
Yeah.
because you don't identify as being healthy. You identify as someone who is, is on the way to being healthy. And a simple question: do you think who do you think is more likely to go to the gym? Someone who already believes they are healthy, or someone who is on the way to being healthy?
Well, yeah, on the way to being healthy means that if you don't feel like it, it's fine. I can take a day off that journey, or I can rest for a day, or I can do this for a day or two. It doesn't matter, or a week or whatever, because I'm not there now, and in a week I still won't be there. So it doesn't matter if I do it this week or I don't do it this week, because I'm not there now. So
Yeah.
who gives a shit?
Yeah, well, I can. You know what? It's fine. Like, I'm allowed a day off.
For a week or for a month off.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'm recalibrating. I wasn't healthy before. I'm not healthy now.
Yeah, I'm healthier now than I was, so that'll do. That'll be fine.
Sounds all well and good.
Yeah, like, why not? So then,
But you never actually get to that point.
You cannot, and this, I'm stealing this from a man named Nero. You cannot become without first being.
Yeah. Agree.
So in order to become, you need to be. So you cannot do first. You must have the identity of what it is you want. So then you are more likely to do the action, and then you will have whatever the result is. Yeah. Now, to tie this back in, I spelled that wrong. We move. Yeah. No, I haven't spelled that wrong. You might. To tie this back in, right? So, the outside world is a reflection of your internal state. So, instead of looking in, we look out. And we observe the outside world. We then flip that to the internal world and see where we do this thing. We then ask ourselves, is it what we want? Answer, most likely, no. So then, we need to find where in the be do have. Instead of looking at changing the action, we need to look at where our identity not aligned. Where's our identity not aligned?
Where is our identity?
Yeah. Who are we showing up as? Which is, causing this difference between who we are and who we wish to be. Forget about the action that you're taking and just look at the identity you have. And once you figure out where in your self-concept, where in your identity is not aligned with how you wish to show up, then that is the starting point.
I think it does go back to that idea of, do you see yourself as someone who is getting healthy, or trying to be healthy, or about to be healthy, or do you view yourself as someone who is healthy? I suppose that's kind of like the crux of it a little bit.
It is.
Like, this person I want to be, or this job I want to have, or this profession, like, if I just only see myself as someone who's working towards it, and working towards it, and working towards it, and working towards it, I can work towards it forever. Okay. Whereas if I am, from now moving forward, I am that thing I want to be, then it makes everything else you do either tick that box and keep you stable and keep you sort of like in alignment with that, or it's you're going back to the old of, oh, I'm getting there, I'm not there yet. Whereas if you choose to be there now, then it's like everything else is just really simple, because it's like, oh well, I'm this person, so this person does these things, I'm gonna just do these things. Like, I am healthy, of course I'm gonna go to the gym, I've got some spare time, it's the right time, I'll go to it now, because that's me.
And that is great. But again, the issue comes is you might be able to say, you know, you might be like, I am him.
Yeah.
Right? You might this might be the identity you want, him.
Yeah.
And you might follow that in so many ways.
Yeah.
But then there's times within your day where your identity slips. And this is not where you're operating from.
Yeah.
And that is when you need to forget about yourself for a second and look in your world. Well, where am I slacking? God, show me. Let me observe what's going on, so that I can see where I am not aligned, but without all of the ego and all the stuff that you package into the story of how and why you live and right how you live it.
Yeah.
So we're done. Observe. Reflect. Realign. Or and that's it.